into all of that, do you want to both maybe tell why you think it's important that we read it and why you want to encourage people to read it and to read it again and again and again, over and over again? Do you want to give us an idea?
Well, I'll start off and then Richard can follow up. My name is Jason Haxton. I'm director of the Museum of Osteopathic Medicine, and I've been at my job for 23 years. And so I probably am the one few person who can sit and study Dr. Still every day for 23 years. So just by default, I know more because things come into the museum, new ideas. I meet people like Richard and yourself and go to conferences. And so my vision of Dr. Still is always expanding. And then I share that. Even preparing for this program helped me relook at some linguistic things so that I might better describe Dr. Still. So again, every day is a challenge to know more. And so I do find that Dr. Still is kind of like what we call in the United States an onion. And if you peel off a piece, there's more onion. And you can peel and peel and peel and keep getting closer and closer. But each time it's still an onion and there's another layer that you've taken off. And so I do find that when I read Dr. Still, there's a story and it's a good story. But if you read it a couple more times, there's a little more depth to that story if you're watching for it. And then you read it 3 or 4 more times, and now you really say, oh my gosh, this idea that seems so simple is really quite a complicated concept, but he's presented it very cleanly, that he would take pages of information that we've seen in his writings, and then he condense it into one sentence. But what I'm doing is looking at that sentence and going back to all those pages to understand what it is, how he got to that simple idea. And so I do think that as you read, you will always go a little deeper, even in the same passage, each time you look at it. Richard, what do you think?
Well, for me, it's a different angle. When I started my osteopathic training, it didn't make sense to me. I was failing my exams, but I was treating people and getting some good results. So I'm thinking, well, that's strange. How come that be happening? And I'd read his book before I actually started my osteopathic training, but it just made no sense to me whatsoever. And then after I graduated, I met this boy with everybody that I talk about with his one petite, and something really amazing happened. And I thought, well, hang on a minute, if what I've been taught isn't helping me, and I didn't really understand what I was doing, and something happened, maybe this guy with this old guy from in the middle 1800s, maybe what he's actually telling us might actually be written in it. Because I think what is written for us should be, if it's any good, we should be able to use it. And that's my idea behind this, is how can we use this work? Because if we know what he meant and we know what he thinks, then we can understand what he was actually doing. Because do we really know what he was doing? But if it's any worth, then we should be able to use it every day in our practice. And that's my main aim, to let everybody see this old language, these old words, they really are really useful, and we can use them.